The Strange Case of the Out of His Mind Carpenter.
Episode 1. The Event. Thank you to all the viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce the first episode of the podcast, Eyes Wide Open. In the studio, the host, Jack Diamonds.
Jack, welcome to the podcast, Eyes Wide Open. Joining us in the studio is our guest Jeff Papaya. Welcome Papaya. Papaya. Thank you, Jack. It's an honor to be here on your podcast. Jack, Drive. Papaya has recently written a bestseller, and he's here with us tonight to talk about it. Papaya. The title of the book is The Strange Case of the Out of His Mind Carpenter. Jack, that sounds like an original title. Papaya. It has to do with one of the events we'll be discussing. Jack, it seems we have a lot to explain to our listeners. Papaya. Yes, Jack. There's definitely a lot to say about it. I'd like to proceed step by step. Jack. Of course, that seems like the best approach. So, what's the first step? Papaya. The first thing we want to highlight is the importance of an event in history. Jack. Which event are you referring to? Papaya. The most important event of all time. According to the New Testament and tradition, Jesus claimed to be the Son of God. He predicted that he would be killed and would rise again after 3 days. According to these sources, Jesus conquered death and rose, appearing in full health before more than 500 eyewitnesses. Jack. Obviously, I think most people are somewhat familiar with the details. But this part about the 500 eyewitnesses isn't as well known. Papaya. That's true, not everyone is aware of this part, yet it's a fundamental aspect of our discussion. Jack. We'll certainly have the opportunity to delve deeper into that later. Papaya. What we want to emphasize is that this event has had an enormous impact on history. Right after his death, the Christian movement, based on his resurrection, exploded across the ancient world, dividing history into two forever. Jack. Papaya, in your book, besides a serious section dedicated to apologetics, we also find a brief comedy. What's that about, Papaya? What we want to emphasize is that this event has had an enormous impact on history. Right after his death, the Christian movement, based on his resurrection, exploded across the ancient world, dividing history into two forever. Jack. I heard it's based on a true story. And it's become a TV series. Papaya. Yes, you could say my story has been successful, perhaps also because I exaggerated some of the funnier parts to make it more entertaining. Jack. Yes, I've personally seen a few episodes in advance, and I had a good laugh along with the studio team. Papaya. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Jack. Not only that, but I can announce to the listeners that we'll be airing an episode of the series after each episode of our podcast. Papaya. That's an honor for me. I'd also like to take this opportunity to greet my colleagues Banani, Ravioli, and Igor, who are listening from home. Jack. Very well, and now we're ready to hand it over to Dolly.
For this series, The Disastrous Misadventures of the Broken Suitcase Gang. Episode 1, Special Offers.
We are at the Nasal Space Observatory. The famous scientists, Professor Papaya, Dr. Banani, Engineer Ravioli, and their assistant Igor, are working as usual, between one measurement and another. Ravioli. Guys, something curious happened to me. I was at the used book stand, and I saw a book on sale. Banani. The book was used, and also on sale. Ravioli. Let's just say the previous owner was overly fond of coffee. Anyway, the book is titled 5 Minimal Facts About the Resurrection of Christ. Papaya. I didn't know you were interested in that kind of topic. Ravioli. Actually, I bought it by mistake. I misread the title. I was thinking it was a cookbook. Banani. What did you read? Ravioli. 5 minty tarts from the restaurants of Cyprus. Banani. But that's completely different. How did you make such a mistake? Ravioli. Well, it was lunchtime. As they say, I was so hungry I couldn't see straight. Papaya. Yes, but in the end, did you read it? Ravioli. I just started. I find these superstitions that some people still believe in the 21st century quite amusing. Papaya. No one can deny that Jesus was the most important figure in all of history. Banani. That's true. We can't underestimate his impact on history. Igor. When Ravioli is hungry, it's best to keep him away from the chemistry lab, otherwise, thinking he's in the kitchen, he might create an explosive recipe.
SavedBlog.com